based on the slides that were presented last year at ORConf. I've got about 40 slides to go through, so this is definitely going to be a lightning talk. Okay, no, I'm not going through all 40 of them. The majority of them, a lot of stuff in backups, just sort of update some of the stuff that I presented last year. It's there for reference if anybody's interested. If you haven't heard of the ZipCPU before, it's another CPU to throw in the mix. This one was primarily designed not for ASICs, but for FPGAs, and it was designed to be light on resource usage while still being full-featured. Some of the updates that have taken place since last year. Last year, the ZipCPU supported only 32-bit bytes. This is rather an unusual CPU to support 32-bit bytes. It now has 8-bit byte support. There's a lot of consequences to that. The biggest consequence that I'm really excited about is it has newlib support now. I was not managing to get newlib to compile with 32-bit bytes. Some of the other things going on, it took some new opcodes to do it. I had to take out a couple opcodes. It now has a compressed instruction set where, I call it a compressed instruction set. It's a set of compressed instructions, might be a better way to put it. They're not fully featured, but you can pack it at times 2 instructions into 1 word. Let's see. Oh, there's another prefetch module. Again, if you're trying to be really, really light on resources, there's a whole spectrum of I want to be so light that it hardly works to I want it to work really hard, and you sort of pay in terms of how many LUTs your CPU is going to take versus is it going to be really slow versus really fast. In the middle, I've got a prefetch now that prefetches 2 instructions at once using the Wishbone B4 pipeline mode. So that means the second instruction comes a whole lot faster. The logic is simple to do. And this is my biggest stressing case for the ZipCPU. It's a Spartan 6 LX4. It only has 2400 LUTs. I managed to put this on there with 2400 LUTs in use. But the neat thing about it is I managed to speed the flash up from a 40 megahertz to an 80 megahertz clock. That's the speed of the CPU itself. And then prefetching 2 instructions at once takes the number of clocks required for fetching 2 instructions from the flash down pretty significantly. Why am I running from flash? Because this device doesn't have any SD RAM. It doesn't have SRAM. It has minimal block RAM, and it has flash. So you use what you have to. It is good enough, though, to play 4x4x4 tic-tac-toe. This has become my proof of choice that a CPU is good enough if you can play 4x4x4 tic-tac-toe on the CPU. I presented this wonderful survey of CPUs last year. It is now an eye chart. I apologize for it. You may have to look at it offline. You can see on the far right there's items with lines through them, things the ZipCPU supported last year that does no more. The big difference right here that I'd like to focus on is it now does support the 8-bit bytes and 16-bit half words. So this is the big point here. It's still a simplified, open source, low area, soft core CPU. I invite you to try it out. And I'll offer you a little humor while I pass the microphone to anybody else and answer any questions somebody might have. Would you like me to read this? Let's see. Your PhD student training is continued for the day. You may go. But I have nothing to show Professor Smith at our weekly meeting. Very well. I will teach you an ancient PhD trick to give the illusion of having done a week's worth. The graph. And then you find the PhD student with his advisor. You find the graph very interesting. I have done a good job. You will continue to fund me. And the advisor, young fool, your PhD mind tricks will not work on me. All right, any questions? Thank you very much.